The final race on the schedule for the last round of the season. The stock class is the one championship that remains up for grabs. The thrilling inaugural 2023 season has been followed up with a wide open title race, one that 3 riders can still claim. Mario Mayor is favourite. He has a 10-point margin over 2019 Moto3 World Champion Lorenzo Dalla Porta. However, Demis Mihaila is a further 9 back, so mistakes can't be made in 17 laps to decide the title, the last roll of the dice in 2024 in the honour of the Stock European Championship. For the final time in 2024, the stock class ready to do battle, and this is a big one. Hugo Giles and Lewis Sudbury welcoming you all alongside us for the final time this year here at Estoril. A year of 5 winners and 10 podium finishes, but only one can be the champion.
Yeah, we're down to 3 in terms of the chase for the title. Mario Mayor has it in his hands. He knows that if he finishes in the top 2, the title will be his. But we have a 3-way finale to crown a champion after Demis Mihaila's victory last time out in Aragon.
Por supuesto que sí, para celebrar.
Great celebrations last time out, but as we have already said, it's tight at the top. It's actually a 16-point margin, covering Mario Mayor down to Demis Mihaila, and it can go any one of 3 ways. So, as we alluded to, mistakes cannot be made. But the pressure, I think of all of the championships we've called today, Lewis, this is the closest one, and it's one that can very much swing a different way.
Certainly can. We've had champions crowned today when they've got into the final race needing a 10th place or needing an 8th place. It's not quite as much a foregone conclusion for Mario Mayor, the 18-year-old Spaniard. A top 3 finish will be enough for him, so if he can back up a podium finish and add to the 3 that he's already taken this season, the victory in Jerez and his podium finishes in Barcelona and Portimao, he will be your stock champion at the end of today's final race of the season, but still could switch the other way. Lorenzo Dalla Porta, of course, as you mentioned, he knows how to win a championship, and he's won a championship at world level. Moto3 title winner 5 years ago. He needs to win this race and hope that Mayor is off the podium. For Demis Mihaila, he needs an awful lot more to go his way, but none of the title contenders took pole position yesterday.
I'm excited to start in pole. It is the 2nd pole of the season, so yeah, no pressure. We just go get a good start and do what we came to do. Step by step build up, and yeah, the team is doing an amazing job this week. I cannot complain at all, so we're looking forward to the race. We're here to have fun, to go out and enjoy the last race of the season, and my last race in CEV as well, because next year I am no longer going to race. So yeah, we just go have fun and enjoy.
So he said himself he's not going to be here next year, and the 23-year-old South African DINO IOZZO is looking to bow out in style here with victory at the final race of the year. Starts from pole position for the 2nd time in his stock career. The other one also came here at Estoril back in May, so clearly a circuit that Dino enjoys. He'll enjoy it certainly if you can see the checkered flag first at the end of 17 laps of action. As mentioned, just when we throw over to that recap of qualifying, the championship contenders kind of took the back seat yesterday in qualifying. It was DINO IOZZO from Archie McDonald in qualifying yesterday. South Africa on pole ahead of Australia. But the title battle will certainly be taking centre stage and in the forefront of our minds with Mario Mayor third, Lorenzo Dalla Porta fourth, and Demis Mihaela at the back of row 2 in sixth.
Yeah, work to do for Mihaela. It's going to be a bit of a stretch anyway, you'd have to think, for the number 89, but you never know what might happen in Junior GP's 4 championships. This, of course, is the stock one. DINO IOZZO, as you quite correctly said, Lewis, he has had a pole earlier this season. That came at Estoril, but he's only had 3 finishes out of a possible 6 so far. He hasn't won, and if he's going to bow out in style, there's no better way to do that.
Yeah, and he's one of the riders on this grid who I guess has relatively little pressure on his shoulders, although he's told us that he's going to be bowing out and will want to bow out in some style, going from pole position. But he's not the only one who will be chasing victory at this final race of the year, because he's got one of our winners already this season right alongside him. Here is Archie McDonald, who since we last saw him on a stock grid in the Junior GP paddock, he did go and clinch second place back in his home of Australia, second in the Aussie Super Sport Championship. And for Archie McDonald, he could potentially still lift himself up as far as 4th in the Stock European standings if he can take victory today. Of course, his other victory, as mentioned, came on Portuguese soil. Can Archie McDonald do the Portuguese double and add an Estoril win to his victory already in Portimao?
Yeah, he was really strong and brought him out as well, really fast from pole position, took the win. But here is your championship favourite, Mario Mayor. Only had 1 win in 2024, which I find absolutely remarkable, but he's been consistent. He has finished every race, and there's a lot to be said for that. So the whole of Navarra, quite clearly with Mario Mayor, Navarra, of course, northern region in Spain. So Mayor with a lot of support over here on the Portuguese coast as we lose some of the images, but we'll get back to that in a little while. Mayor was is ahead of its Lorenzo Dalla Porta, not just in the championship chase, but also in terms of 4th place on the grid. That goes to Dalla Porta, so your Moto3 world champion from 2019. Yeah, it's been a difficult career ever since that dizzy heights of World Championship, but he's down here in the stock class trying to regenerate his career and get back to winning ways. He has won 2 races this year, that's 1 more than Mayor, but he wasn't able to race in Portimao due to a clash with his Italian Championship duties, Lewis. How costly is that going to be?
Could be very costly if he can't overturn that deficit he has to Mayor of 10 points. As you say, double booked on the weekend of Portimao, and Mayor took full advantage, scored 20 points on that weekend when he was just pipped out of the final corner by Archie McDonald. Those 20 points make all the difference at the moment in terms of the title chase. Dalla Porta's just got to try and win this race and hope for the very best. If he's not inside the top 6 today, he cannot win the championship, but realistically he needs to win and hope that Mayor fails to join him on the podium.
Andy Verdoya is 5th on the grid. He's also 5th in the championship battle. He's had 1 podium this year. That came right back at the season opening round of Misano. So if you're looking to bookend his season well, Demis Mihaela, well, 6th place for him, but a winner last time out. That's the reason why he's in title contention.
Yeah, and it's an outside shot for Mihaela, but you've got to be in it to win it. And the 16-year-old Italian, certainly the least experienced of our 3, fighting it out for this European Superstock title. If there are any incidents or any collisions or any mistakes from the likes of Mayor and Dalla Porta, that could leave the door wide open for Mihaela. If he's going to win the championship, he needs to win this final race. He needs Dalla Porta to be 3rd or lower, and he needs Mario Mayor to be 8th or lower. So it is a long, long shot, but it is a shot for Demis Mihaela.
Adrian Rodriguez won here last time out back in May. Since then, it's been a bit of a tricky season. He has had a couple of podiums, but a top 10 in Catalonia, not really what he'd be looking for. And of course, Misano, he did not score at all. So a couple of blanks on his copybook. As for the number 67 of Danny Valle. Well, he's thereabouts, but he'll want some big points as well. Middle of the third row for him.
Yeah, Valle did come here on the back of his season's best result at Jerez. Back-to-back points finishes, starting with that Jerez 5th place. So Carlos Valle does come here on the back of a little bit of good form in recent times. We've already got a notice on our timing screens of an investigation underway for the number 58 of Jose Luis Armario, although that is not an investigation that impacts on our title contenders, but some potential early stress for the Spaniard, who's due to start from 21st on the grid.
Iker Garcia, just got a look at him. He is 9th in the championship. Will he be able to have a say and perhaps bag one of his better results of the year? Just one podium for the GV Macro Bonsai Racing Yamaha. Number 61, here we are. This is Javier Del Olmo. He starts from the head of the 4th row of the grid. One of the only Kawasaki runners on the entire field, but representing the Japanese brand well there in the head of the 4th row.
It is a grid largely dominated by Yamahas. We do have Andy Verdoya up towards the sharp end on the Honda. We've also got a couple of Hondas further back on the 6th and 7th rows respectively, but the Yamahas have generally dominated this stock season. It is going to be a Yamaha rider that takes the title. It won't be Borja Jimenez, who starts from 11th place. The number 91, who did crash in the lead here back early on in the season in very different conditions to this. In wet conditions, we saw Jimenez right up at the sharp end. He's not going to get that same assistance from the weather today.
Well, never say never. There's no cloud toning interview just yet, as you can quite clearly see. Maybe we can say never just this once, I suppose. Sun beating down, and it's beating down on pole in his last race in this paddock. DINO IOZZO, it says the last dance. Will he get a 10 out of 10 for it? Well, we're about to find out. Racing about to go green here at Estoril.
So the final race of this thrilling Junior GP World Championship season comes in the Superstock class with a champion still to crown. DINO IOZZO starts from pole position from Archie McDonald and your current points leader, Mario Mayor. A podium will be enough to clinch him the title. Lorenzo Dalla Porta ready to take advantage and pounce if there's a slip up from ahead of him. He starts from 4th place. Andy Verdoya in 5th ahead of our one other title contender, Demis Mihaila. Adrian Rodriguez, Carlos Valle and Alberto Bascondes are on the 3rd row of the grid. A grid of 32 will line up for this final race of the season. Right at the back of it, the number 11 of Iker Garcia, who did finish on the podium in our previous Estoril encounter earlier in the season. He had qualified up inside the top 10, but he's been sent to the back of the grid for slow sectors in practice. There he is, the number 11 completing your grid of 32. Certainly expect him to come charging through the field. He's up in 9th in the championship, is Iker Garcia, so out of position to some tune on the grid. Points you'd expect to be a minimum for him, even coming from 32nd on the grid. The warm-up lap gets underway. 17 laps of racing remaining in this class, and indeed in this season for Junior GP in 2024. It has been a memorable season. The final round has already produced some champions, and it's produced plenty of drama. Here's one last sting in the tail ahead of us in this Superstock decider.
Last race of the season, it is the title decider. Mayor leads the standings. He has just one win, but has finished every race, adding a total of 3 podiums, all of which came in the last 4 races. Then there's Lorenzo Dalla Porta, 2 wins, 3 podiums like Mayor. It's a costly clash of duties for the Italian Championship with Portimao stock race, meaning he didn't participate. Then outsider Demis Mihaila, 4 consecutive top 4 finishes and a first career win last time out, coming good at the right time, ready to pick up the scraps if there are any going for him. I'm Kiko Giles, and alongside me for the final time in 2024's Junior GP paddock season, Lewis Sotheby's right with me, taking you through the action, and what a season it has been in stock title contention. We have got 3 riders. What is going to happen here? I mean, we think we've seen it all in Junior GP, but I have a feeling we've got one last sting in the tail.
It's a class that's going to keep us guessing. On our timing screens, 82 is under investigation. That is your championship leader, Mario Mayor.
Ooh.
We've not got any information on our timing screens as to what in particular he's under investigation for, but the number 58 that we already told you about is under investigation. That's the rider starting from 21st on the grid, Jose Luis Almario. Mario Mayor is also under investigation for something. At the moment, we have no further information than that.
The only thing I can think of on the grid is that it's been tyre pressures, but that would have been dealt with there and then. So I'm not really sure, unless it's an error. I mean, well, we're going to have to wait and see on this one. Mario Mayor.
Watch this space.
He might be having a mare if it carries on, but whoa. DINO IOZZO's going from pole. I mean, what's going through the mind of IOZZO, on the IUM. Yamaha just takes pole position. Archie McDonald there, the 69. And I don't know if Mario Mayor even knows. We've got the red flag at the back. That's Mario Mayor. He is the rider who is under investigation for some reason. Not quite sure why. We're just waiting. Well, we've got a yellow flag somewhere. Okay, I think, are we having a delayed start? No, we're not. Well, the green flag, a little bit of confusion there. Yeah, we're going to have a delayed start here. Not quite sure what is happening here at all.
We're ready now.
We had a marshal on the track at one point. I think there was a slight miscommunication. Anyway, we're racing for the final time in 2024's Junior GP season. Off and running we go. And it is DINO IOZZO who has got the whole shot down towards turn one. Mayor on the brakes, already trying to move through into second. And he does. So Mario Mayor has already got up from third place into second place on Archie McDonald, who's going back to third. But IOZZO, oh, what a save that was.
Mihaila.
That was Mihaila. He always had a Mihaila. So, oh, and that's the Kawasaki of Del Olmo. The 61 has gone down. So we had every single race today, everyone through the first sector cleanly until today in the stock race. So unfortunate stuff from there, but Mihaila, great save on the exit turn two.
Well, there was all sorts of confusion on the grid then before the race got underway, and I don't know whether that affected Dalla Porta, because he had an absolutely rubbish start from the second row of the grid. The 48 just went backwards. Whether it was a slow reaction time or a slow start, he went backwards. So Dalla Porta runs fifth. That was Mihaila then coming back through on the Rodriguez, back up into seventh place. But just the kind of start that Mayor would have wanted in second place, and his title rival, his chief title rival, Dalla Porta, already playing catch-up.
Yeah, Mihaila's not too much better off at all. In fact, he's the one who had the big moment. So Dalla Porta's up into fourth place now. So that's some consolation. He's behind Bascones. So we've got long laps for number 35 and 58. The 58 we already spoke to you about was under investigation. That's Jose Luis Almario. And the 35 is Saez. So that's right down in 30th place. So it's not really affecting the runners too much. But I read it out because we did see Mario Mayor under investigation now. I just wonder if they're looking a little bit further into that. Whatever it was, DINO IOZZO in his last race in stock in Junior GP leads the first lap. He's got Mario Mayor for company. Dalla Porta sweeping on for third place. I remind you, a podium more than good enough for the number 82 of Mayor, and he will be your champion.
Yeah, cites his long lap penalty on the 35. That was already confirmed after qualifying. He caused a crash in qualifying, got his long lap penalty. The penalty for the 58, we told you about Almario's penalty on the grid. That was something that's only just reared its head to us and was announced before the race got underway. Top two, though, away at the front, and this is perfect for Mayor at this stage to be away at the front and already with around about a second of a buffer back to Dalla Porta. But the early signs are that the former Moto3 champion is already closing in.
Oh,
red light panel is
flag.
flashing. Red flag out. We've got Valente and Molina, I think, who have both gone down on that first lap, and the Superstock race is stopped on lap 2.
Well, that's another red flag in the stock class. 24, that's Bascones was waving his arms in the air. That's so a bit of misfortune for the stock class. We've had a bit of difficulties running at some points this year because we had the red flag and delay. Aragon, and what a delay it was as well. That was a lengthy one. And I think as well, I can't remember where else we had one, but we've had a couple this year. In Portimao, I think it was. So they're making their way through the final sector. Well, I tell you what, there'll be a couple of riders, I'm thinking championship contenders, that'll be a little bit happy about that red flag because we'll be within the first 3 laps, and because we will have a complete, say, grid restart. There'll be maybe some laps knocked off, but the grid order will be the same as the qualifying order.
Yeah, I think the rider who will be most relieved out of that will be Lorenzo Dalla Porta, because he had such a poor start from the second row of the grid, and it's going too far to say that he'd lost touch with the front two, because it was still very early, but he had given them a little bit of a head start at such an early stage of the race. So it does at least give Dalla Porta another chance to come back into play and potentially make a better start. It is also worth pointing out that the long lap penalties that were issued for Sights and for the 58 of our Mario, those will still stand because they hadn't served their long lap penalties yet. So when this race does get back up and running once again, they will still have to serve their long lap penalties. No news yet of where either Mayor's investigation was for, nor whether he's likely to face a penalty at this stage.
Well, we're all back under proceedings for a red flag, and when we do go green again, we will have a reduced distance. I'm fairly sure of that, but it will all be under the quick restart procedure, and I think we're going to have this race slashed, of course. It's maybe 3 o'clock here in Portugal, but the sun doesn't stay up much longer down here than it does back over in our native UK, Lewis, so we are a bit constricted by time. But we do know that we won't be rumbling on too long, I don't think. So whatever the red flag was, we hope the riders that are involved are all right. Of course, that has to be the first priority. And of course here, JuniorGP, and like in many World Championships, safety absolutely paramount. So we hope that everybody is relatively all right and that the red flag is nothing too serious. If you're just joining us here, we're under red flag conditions at the Circuito do Estoril, just outside of Lisbon, for the final round of JuniorGP. It's coming to you live from the circuit itself. It's not a repeat, even though we are on a Wednesday afternoon. Of course, this round was scheduled originally to be taking place in Valencia, but due to the floods that took place in that region of Spain and also beyond, we aren't able to race there, and we send our thoughts, prayers, and absolute best and well wishes to everyone in Valencia and beyond, because it has been a region, and Spain as a country, that is reaping some really bad outcomes of that. But our thoughts with everyone there. They're just going to get into the safety car now. They're going to do a sighting lap and get to the crash site, make sure that everyone's all right. Of course, if there is any need for an ambulance, the ambulance will be well there by now. And we will start to see exactly what is underway and what's going to happen down there in JuniorGP. Everyone looking on down pit lane. So I wonder if there's something that's happened down towards turn 1.
Well, the 3 riders who are shown as stopped on our timing screens are Rodrigo Valente, the number 32, who'd started 23rd on the grid. Eric Molina, the 43, for 50 Motorsport, who'd started 1 row behind him in 26th, and Christian Daliano, who started 28th on the grid on the Pinamoto RS machine. So those are the 3 riders who came up on our timing screens as stopped, where, yeah, none the wiser at the moment compared to yourselves back at home as to what happened involving any 2 or 3 of them, or the status of the riders. We, of course, hope that everything is okay with the riders, and that any riders who require any kind of medical assistance are receiving that. They will be receiving the best possible care. Hopefully it is just debris or some potential damage to either the racetrack or to maybe some of the crash barriers around the circuit. Of course, any further information that we have on the riders involved, we will bring it to you as soon as we have it. But whilst the situation is tidied up, we await any news of a restart time. If we do indeed get a shortened distance under 2/3 of the original distance, then expect a 12-lap restart.
And of course, just for those of you who are watching at home, and you might be thinking, how do we... Well, I'll get onto that in a moment. We got the quick restart procedure, race distance of 11 laps, you rightly say, Lewis. Time till the pit lane is open is yet to be confirmed, but when this race does get underway, it will be under 11 laps. But for those of you at home who are perhaps wondering, how can we not know exactly what's happening? It's because besides the timing monitor, we actually see exactly the same images as you. Oh, dear me.
It's into turn 1.
Yeah, we've got a couple of riders down there. They're working on a couple of the riders, one on the right-hand side. Not sure we
it's
can
riders,
identify.
just a clarification, it's riders 32, 43 and 36, not rider 46. There isn't a rider 46 on this grid. So those are the 3 riders that are involved. And Yeah, as you see, the medical team are taking their very best care there down into turn 1. Looking at where the riders have ended up, it would appear there has been some sort of collision on the brakes into turn number 1, given how far they've gone into the gravel trap.
And all riders are conscious, and we saw both of them that are down here at the moment. I was just about to say, can't quite identify which ones are which from this camera shot, but can tell you that both were moving just a moment ago, so that's good to see. And as I was saying earlier, that the ambulance and all of the safety crew are down there almost immediately. But as I was saying, we literally have exactly the same screens as you at home. Besides a timing monitor that we can just about see because it's on such a small screen. Besides that, obviously in our TV broadcast unit, they have all of the cameras. That's how a TV broadcast works. You move from camera to camera around the racetrack. But what's broadcast for us is exactly what you see. So that's why, genuinely, we only commentate on what we see. So we can't give you any more information apart from what we've seen, but obviously we can now update you if you're just coming and joining us here. A red flag in the final race of the season in the whole JuniorGP paddock, as well as a stock title charge down at turn 1. Both riders have been put onto stretchers. They were both conscious and reported as conscious. We could see that from the camera shot we've just seen, but as well as the information we've just had along the ticker at the bottom of our screens. So they'll be in the ambulance, they'll be given the absolute best care, hopefully nothing too serious, and they will be back and ready to do it all over again in 2025. But right now, a red flag when you're 10-point leads in the championship is on it. It's far from ideal.
I was just about to say, as we've got further information from race direction, as pretty much just reinforces what we've already told you, that the pit lane open time is to be confirmed, but the race distance will be 11 laps. Of course, it's secondary to the big picture, which is our hope that the riders involved in that accident are okay. But if you're Mario Mayor, you could have really done without that. He was in a pretty good position in the race itself, running in second place with his chief title rival, Lorenzo Dalla Porta, fairly comfortably behind him, but also any potential nerves that he might have been suffering from and potentially got over. Having got that race up and running, he was been able to settle down into the race and just focus on the job at hand and just tick the laps off. Of course, that's all going to reset, and any potential nerves are now going to actually come back to the surface once again, as he has to wait along with the rest of us to see when this race is going to get up and running. Lorenzo Dalla Porta here will see this as potentially a real opportunity after making such a poor start originally to the race. He had recovered himself up into third place when the race was stopped. But of course, Lorenzo Dalla Porta will now be able to start from the grid once again and potentially get his claws right back into Mario Mayor once again. And of course, with the shortened distance, that again means that I guess there's less time for it to go wrong. But if things do go wrong for Mario Mayor, less time to make that back up again.
Hugely. That reduced distance, it might only be 6 laps, but 6 laps, basically what we've got is a race over 2/3 of the original distance.
Mistakes will be punished much harder.
Much harder. And also, when you, I think as a rider, when you're in this situation, you've already done one start, you've done your sighting up, you've done the briefing on the grid with your team and your close ones around you, then you go and do the warm-up lap, you go through the whole cycle of starting a race. And there's a red flag for reasons that these guys will know even less than us, unless they've watched it back on the YouTube stream. You have to gather your thoughts and go all over again. It's a very difficult thing to just park. So it's something they're going to have to do, that there is no doubt, because that is what racing's all about, unfortunately. You can't take it all on the rub of the green. You have got to take the rough with the smooth, and they're going to have to go out and do it. At least they'll be able to, because, of course, there's a couple of riders that brought out the red flag who will not be able to. As you can see, a couple of the team members there giving us hearts. Well, we can't show you that we love you, whoever you are, but we can say we do. Please keep us company. I love the rather lovely Colombian sombrero being worn in pit lane as well. Need one in here. We did need one in here earlier on because the sun was beating straight into this comms box. We can actually see the monitor a little bit better now. But great to see a few personalities down there in pit lane. We're looking at all the boxes and getting all the tension that, of course, a lot of the teams and riders are doing. The ambulance is moving, so these riders will be transported to the medical centre, if not hospital, if need be. But as we are just outside of Lisbon and Cascais as well, we're close to some major urbanisations, which means that infrastructure, including hospitals, are generally pretty up to speed.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but having had the red flag in the first 3 laps, original grid positions will be taken up once again. On our timing screens, we have a full list of, we have the list of 32 who are still on our timing screens that could potentially take the restart. I guess what we need to have cleared up is whether the likes of Del Olmo, who went down early on, whether they've been able to get their bikes back again and potentially take the restart, because they will have the opportunity to do so if they still have a motorcycle that they can compete with. There's discussions going up on the grid there, I guess, just establishing where everyone is going to take this restart from. Just to underline, if you haven't seen this carried out before, it is quite a common feature now in JuniorGP and in Grand Prix motorcycle racing, the quick restart procedure. So when the pit lane does open, we're still waiting for a confirmed time for that. Riders will have 60 seconds to get themselves out of pit lane and out onto the racetrack for a sighting lap. They will have one mechanic only who will be waiting for them on their grid spot, essentially just to tell the riders where to park on the grid. They can do nothing to the bike. They can't make any changes to the motorcycle. Once he's gone out, that rider has gone out onto the grid. And then once every rider is present and correct on the grid, the warm-up lap will start and we'll be racing once again over the shortened 11-lap distance.
This is what happened in the first stage, and as you can see, DINO IOZZO got an absolute flyer from Archie McDonald, but watch the 82 of Mario Mayor. Talk about late braking, gaining the meters, gaining the track position, and beelining for an apex up from 3rd into 2nd place by turn 1.
Yeah, Dalla Porta was already 7th at this stage when he got into turn 1. Just underlines how poor a start he had. So he was in some real early trouble, and I think we'll be quite relieved that he's going to have a second crack at this.
I'll tell you what, Javier Del Olmo, he might have crashed, but he had an absolute belting start. Kawasaki had jumped the Hondas, so very good stuff indeed from Javier Del Olmo. You see all the riders in pit lane just watching and seeing what's going on. Getting plenty of waves, but unfortunately we do not have a fixed grid order. I mean, we can see it from there, but I mean, we have no idea which row is which on that one, unfortunately. And more than that, we don't have any idea of when this race is going to get underway.
We're looking at rows 5 and 6 there, I believe. That's the number 51 you can see there. That's of Uriostegi, who was due to start in 18th position on the grid. One row behind him there, you can see the 58. Of course, should he start the restart, we've already mentioned to you, the 58 of Armario will have a long lap penalty to serve. So he's one row further back, as he was in 21st place. So that would reinforce to us that the original grid positions when this race began will be maintained when this race gets underway. But we, of course, are not yet confirmed as to how many of the 32 that started will be in any position to take the restart of this race.
Just looking in at the 50 Motorsport camp. They run Molina, Ribeiro and Guarnieri. To name just a few. They're all in there. And they have as much information as we do at this stage, I can tell you that. They'll be looking around and possibly checking out what they can do. It's a good time for some other riders to do some social media work and get the team's platforms spiking in views.
Yes, that's Alfami Khairuddin down there. It looks like him for the ECh, the Sepang International Circuit Racing, not to be confused with the ECh 58 squad, which of course we see in the Grand Prix paddock. But the race, of course, was due to get underway just under 20 minutes ago now. We would have been just about coming to the boil of the original 17-lap battle, the chase for the title. There's not an awful lot of race for them to debrief upon down there in pit lane. But there are some initial discussions taking place to reflect on what we saw so far. I believe that on the left-hand side was one of the IUM Motorsports riders, teammate to DINO IOZZO, the young Aussie, Declan van Rosmalen, who was having a bit of a chat down there. And at the moment, that's all they can do, just try and keep the situation as calm as possible. Mario Mayor, I guess, will just be trying to just put any nerves to the back of his mind. Just the longer he has to wait to get this race back underway. Of course, it's the same for all three of the title contenders with so much on the line. The longer they have to wait to get this race up and running, the tension will just continue to build. They just want to get this race up and running and just get this title decided. And as mentioned before the race was halted, Mayor was in a pretty strong position there up in second place behind your pole sitter, DINO IOZZO. So having made that initial start, he's now going to try and do it all again and try and replicate what he did in that initial start, because he was around about a second clear of Lorenzo Dalla Porta, who, remind you, not only has to win this race in ideal circumstances, but he also needs to put some bikes between himself and Mario Mayor. 10 points separates the top two, so a victory for Dalla Porta means that he would need Mayor to be third or lower to take the title today.
And I'll tell you something else with a shorter race distance. When we do go racing, if you can just get ahead on that opening lap, it's a lot of a shorter race to have to defend, slow down, manage in these kind of situations for someone like Dalla Porta, who needs to win in a realistic world. We've got just had a pit lane open notification, 15:27. So
6 minutes.
6 minutes will be underway, or at least the pit lane will be open. In terms of managing the race, 11 laps is a lot easier to manage than 17. So for someone like Dalla Porta, who is going to need to really win and then try and back the field down and get riders in and amongst it with Mario Mayor, you know, he's got 11 laps to get 4 riders in the mix. So it's going to be tricky, but it's going to be a lot more manageable than it would be under a 17-lap race. If you're just joining us here for the final stock race of the season, the final race of the entire season in the JuniorGP paddock, we're just under a red flag condition due to an incident further down the field, down at turn 1. You can see all the scrape marks there on the racing line. Both riders that were involved have been taken to the medical centre first, and if need be, the hospital. They were transported by ambulance. They were both conscious, so that's good news to report, but it does mean that, unfortunately, the final race of the day has been curtailed, and it will now be shortened. So instead of 17 laps, we'll have 11 laps. And I remind you that there is still a championship on the line here. We've got Mario Mayor, who has had just one win but finished every single race this season, who's just 10 points ahead of Lorenzo Dalla Porta, who's behind him on the grid, the 3rd and 4th respectively. Dalla Porta's had 2 wins and 3 podiums, the same number of podiums as Mayor, but couldn't race in Portimao due to a clash with his Italian championship. And how important and pivotal is that going to be? Then you've got first-time winner, last time out, Demis Mihaila. 4 consecutive top 4 finishes of late, and he is one of the form riders. He had a big moment in the opening part of this race. He was lucky to stay on, and thankfully for him, he did stay on, and he will be able to take his original grid position and at least try and have some sort of say on the outcome. He's 16 points adrift of your leader Mayor, which means that it is probably the most realistic championship that can change of all the 3 that were open coming into this round. Kiko Giles here, Lewis Sotheby is alongside me still, as we count down the clock. Just a few more minutes to go, 4 minutes to go more or less, until we get underway for JuniorGP. So until that moment, we're going to take a couple of minutes just to sort ourselves out up here in commentary, and then just before the pit lane opens, we'll join you again. So give us a couple of minutes and we'll be back. Hello and welcome back here to the final round of the FIM Junior GP World Championship from the Circuito Estoril in Portugal. We've had a red flag in the stock race, just a couple of laps into the original 17-lap running. And that means that we just took a couple of minutes to pause ourselves and take a breather up here in the comms box. But we're back here now and we will be ready to go with 11 laps of a title deciding stock race. We have a quick start procedure, so that's good for everyone to get straight back down to business. This is the 82 of Mario Mayor, who will be looking to try and wrap up the title. He's got 10 points in his pocket over Lorenzo Dalla Porta, then it's Demis Mihaila in third place, who's a further 6 back, so 16 points covering the top 3. Kiko Giles here, Lewis Sotheby is right alongside me, so both of us very much ready to see who comes out on top in this delayed Super Stock European Championship race. I can tell you right now that both riders that were involved in the incident down at Turn 1 have been taken by ambulance to the medical centre, and if need be, they will be transported to the hospitals locally in Cascais or, if needed, in Lisbon, the capital of Portugal. Here, only half an hour away by road. And we hope they're all relatively all right. We didn't see the incident, we only saw them being stretchered into the ambulance. And as always here in Junior GP, like in many World Championships, from MotoGP to World Superbike and beyond, the medical staff on the scene absolutely straight away. We're just coming through the sighting lap. Obviously the pit lane's only just opened about a minute and a half ago. Lewis, time to gather our thoughts, but what about the riders? They had a quick breather, a couple of them, such as Lorenzo Dalla Porta, Demis Mihaila, will be hoping to make better fists of it off the line this time around than their Horlickses in the first running.
Yeah, well, we saw Mayor make a very good start from where he started on the outside of the front row, got himself up into second place up behind your pole sitter. Here he is on screen, the number 13 of DINO IOZZO. Dalla Porta had an absolute shocker and dropped a couple of places, and we saw Mihaila have that big moment too, which saw him relegated a few places back down the order, having already started down in 6th place. So the two outsiders, if you like, in this three-way title battle have been given a bit of a reprieve with the situation, the red flag. Not that, of course, they would have wished upon it. Certainly, you never want to see a rider picking up an injury or crashing in that sort of situation. But it does give the likes of Dalla Porta and, of course, Mihaila, who is just about in title contention, of course, needs a lot to go his way, 16 points adrift of Mayor. But we touched upon it during the stoppage from Mayor's point of view, who already had a little bit to lose, of course. All to lose and not a lot to gain. He's just defending that championship lead. A shorter race over 11 laps means that any mistake is going to be much harder to recover from. So potentially the pressure cranked up a little bit more on the 82. Left of your picture, Mayor, championship leader coming to this final race. Dalla Porta knows he's got away with one, really, after having such a poor start prior to the stoppage.
Yeah, he did get away with it. Oh, DINO IOZZO. God, it's only the warm-up, but I've been backing it into turn 1. Yeah, Dalla Porta did get away with one. He'd already recovered up to 3rd, though. Let's not forget that. But the initial getaway was an absolute mare. He did not get a good start, but we did have that problem on the line. With a marshal coming on the grid at one point, yellow flags out, then the organisers on, and then off again, all within about 20 seconds. As you can see, Estoril is not flat. That is for certain. It makes you puff, particularly if you're me when you're walking around it uphill into the last chicane, because it is quite high. But it is a rather resplendent, old-school vibe around here, I must admit. I'm talking about the circuit, not the commentary box.
Just a reminder, by the way, of two riders who had long lap penalties before the race was stopped. Yerai Saiz on the 35 and Jose Luis Mario on the 58. Both were given long lap penalties. They will still have to serve those, and it's going to be a much greater penalty, of course, in this shortened 11-lapper. Still no information about any penalty for the points leader, Mayor, who was under investigation. That is not an automatic guarantee that they're going to receive a penalty. Of course, that investigation might well let him off without punishment, but as of yet, we've had no further information on that, so we will take the race as we see it at this stage, with Mayor starting from the outside of the front row and leading the championship by 10 points.
You can't miss the pole sitter. There he is in the pink livery, the number 13 of DINO IOZZO. He's just making his way through the S's. It is going to be your original starting grid, of course, so no need to worry about anything from the opening part of the race. The sun is setting both literally at the circuit and also metaphorically in terms of this championship and this paddock for 2024. It has been a phenomenal season in terms of stock action.
Just noticed Del Olmo there, who did get himself out onto the grid, so he was a big winner, I guess, with the red flag. Not that he'd have wished it. You just saw the green 61 at the top of the picture. He crashed before the race was stopped. He gets a second chance.
He does get a second chance, and keep an eye on the 61 because he was absolutely flying on the opening start. He was one of the big improvers from the 4th row all the way up into the top 6 or 7 positions. Okay, so we are about to go then. Let's hope we get it away cleanly this time around. The stock race. 11 laps, 4.1 kilometres each lap. Another shocker from Dalla Porta, another creamer from the pole position from 13 IOZZO, but it's Archie McDonald who has hit the front for Australia. No, he hasn't. Yes, he has. Tipping across the South African of IOZZO. It's Archie McDonald, your Portimao race winner, who has hit the front. IOZZO second, third for Mayor. Andy Bedoya, is that in 4th? No, it isn't. It's Dalla Porta now. Dalla Porta's recovered up to 4th place at least, so he's got Mario Mayor right up ahead of him. He'll be aggressive. There will be absolutely no prisoners taken, but we're up to turn 4 and everyone safely through.
Yeah, it was another shocking start. You can't say that Dalla Porta hadn't been warned with the terrible start initially, but that wasn't much better. The only good news for Dalla Porta is that he recovered it all on the brakes again into turn 1. So the 13 of IOZZO backing it into turn 6, leads McDonald, then the first of our title contenders, that's Mario Mayor. So your top 4 exactly as they were off the grid.
IOZZO it is, back in the lead. All the 89s making a move. That's Mihaila, he needs to as well. He's up into 5th place now ahead of Bascones. Bascones will try and take it back if he can, but he can't, and it's IOZZO who... Oh my dearie me! What a lunge and a half by Mario Mayor! Be careful, Mario! Dearie me, there's no need to be Super Mario in this. You don't need to be doing that. A podium's all right, but wow! And Dalla Porta will have seen that and thought, I tell you what, if Mario Mayor wants to get his elbows out, I am more than up for it. Through the Ayrton Senna Parabolica that finishes this wonderful 4.1 kilometre lap at Estoril and down across the start and finish line again. DINO IOZZO in his last race in the class leads the opening lap again. Felt like we've said that already. Archie McDonald is second. Look at Dalla Porta. He's going to try. Oh, Mario Mayor instead. He's going to come through. Does he pull it down? Oh, he does. And that was superb for Mayor. And Dalla Porta has got to strike now. He cannot let Mayor out of his sights.
Although if Mayor finishes where he is in 2nd place, it doesn't even matter if Dalla Porta wins. 2nd would be enough for him to win the championship this afternoon. Top 3 will get it done. The 82 runs in 2nd, ahead of the 48 of Dalla Porta. Once they've both made their way through on McDonald on this 2nd lap. He runs 4th, then it's Mihaila on the number 89 running in 5th place. Of course, he really does need to win this and hope for some help elsewhere. The victory at the moment looks like it's in the hands of IOZZO, and I guess if you're Mario Mayor, he will be more than happy to let IOZZO disappear at the front of the field, because of course it takes the 25 points off the table for Dalla Porta.
And of course, most teams here are, well, either individually run, or in the case of the GV Tam Oil Racing boys, it's their riders who are the 1 and 2 in the championship. I'm talking about Mayor at the 82 and the number 48 at Dalla Porta. I thought he was going to have a look at the inside at the chicane. That's where Mayor was a little bit combative last time around. Not this time, no. He holds on to 2nd, but I tell you what, DINO IOZZO, he was pole at Estoril back in May for this original running of the event. He was poled yesterday. He likes Estoril. He's cleared off. 1.1 seconds is the gap.
Yeah, just for an idea of what to look out for, if Dalla Porta finishes in 2nd place, then he needs to be outside the top 6.
Sorry, Lewis, big high side in the background, an enormous get-off at the exit of turn 13. I'm not quite sure who it was. It could have been Van Rosmalen. It was Declan Van Rosmalen. It looked pink and it was sky high. So what an enormous crash. Big high side, asking for the power. Sorry to come in on you there, but it was at the toppest shot and it looked enormous. I hope he's all right, because we have seen some big... Oh, good to see. Pull the wedgie out, because that would have hurt when you landed. Declan van Rosmalen, that was huge.
Yeah, in the back of the picture, he arrives upside down there into turn 13. Nasty landing and nasty ending to his season. So a bit of a bittersweet start to this race then for the IUM Motorsport squads, because his teammate Iozzo leads a 41.0. He is miles faster than the rest of the field, half a second quicker than anyone else on circuit.
And through up into third place, Dalla Porta. Well, he needs more than that. Mario Mayor can afford to be even behind Mihaila at this point. Oh, Iozzo, he's making me wince up here in commentary. Oh, and so is that on the other side of this box. That was the 82 of Mayor trying to come through.
Yeah, if he runs into the back of Lorenzo Dalla Porta, that would suddenly open the door for Mihaila to win the championship, although he would need to be in the top two from there to overtake both Dalla Porta and Mayor. I guess Mayor is just looking at Dalla Porta, isn't he, at this stage? Just stay where he's behind him. There's a big moment behind.
That was Mihaila. I think he's gone off. It was. Mihaila has gone off, didn't he?
I think he's got a problem.
It looked like he had no front brakes there coming into turn 12. I must admit, either that or he hit a false neutral, but he went flying off. Well, that's one rider who isn't winning this championship. Demis Mihaila. Well, unless we have another red flag, but then I don't want to wish that upon anyone. But Mihaila, well, it was a late charge. 3 have become 2, and Mario Bay takes the break-in room of Lorenzo Dalla Porta, who will not be overly enamoured about that one, I'm sure. Well, we said he was combative. Mario Mayor, I think that's putting it politely, and Dalla Porta might be thinking of another word.
Well, that's one way to take the maths out of the equation altogether in terms of, oh, if Dalla Porta finishes here, I can finish here. Just finish ahead of him and you're champion, whatever happens. So he's back up into the podium positions now in third. McDonald up ahead in second, and Iozzo's lead is now 1.3 seconds, although McDonald was 0.3 quicker than the South African last time around, but bringing the gap back down to 1.3.
Oh, McDonald late on the brakes. Oh, he had a big moment then. McDonald had a big moment, somehow pulled it down. Oh, that's Mihaila. Don't go near him. Don't ask for an autograph now. Stomping. That is a stomp as well. Back in this battle for second now, which it is, because that mistake by McDonald has just allowed Mayor and Dalla Porta to close in. Well, Mayor was overly aggressive, I think, on Dalla Porta at turn 1. If Dalla Porta needed another invitation to be a bit aggressive on him on his return, I hope he didn't pick a fight he can't win, because for sure Dalla Porta will not blink twice in terms of getting his elbows out now.
Difficulty for Dalla Porta from here is that the field has spread out a little bit. This battle for second, third and fourth, they're best part of a second and a half clear of Bedoya in fifth. Bascone's in sixth, and then Del Olmo given that reprieve by the red flag. Reminder, if Dalla Porta finishes second, he needs Mayor to be sixth or lower to win the championship from there. Sixth place is 2.5 seconds behind them, so it's in Mayor's interests here to, first and foremost, let Iozzo get up the road, but also pull clear of the riders behind.
This is what happened with Mihaila. Yeah, I tell you what, I didn't see a lot wrong there. Hard one to call that. Not sure what happened at all. It looked definitely a mechanical. Oh dear. And that might be a medical centre for a knuckle injury.
It's very upset sponsors for the championship here, as their logo takes a fist from Mihaila. His title hopes are over. He will likely finish third in the points. Adrian Rodriguez is the only rider realistically who could catch him, and he's at the moment running down in 9th place, some 9 seconds off the lead.
Tell you what, it's starting to get a bit close here though for third place. It was already close at turn 1 a couple of laps ago. Are they closing Iozzo down? It looks a little bit like the gap's come down. Maybe my eyes are deceiving me once more, or that, or the camera. But anyway, I'll tell you what, there's a fairing loose on that Mario Mayor 82 Yamaha as well. He's going to have to be careful about that, so don't fight too combatively, please, Mario.
Just get the bike to the checkered flag, he'll be saying to himself, and that's certainly what the team would have said to him before the race, although of course there are some split loyalties, I guess, for the GV Tamil squad. They know one of their two riders is going to win the championship, particularly now that Mihaila is out. Which of the two is it going to be? Is it going to be 82 Mayor, or is it going to be the 48 of Dalla Porta, adding the European Superstock title to his Moto3 World Championship?
Tell you what, there was number 82 Yamaha out on the green there. They're going to have to keep an eye on that for Mario Mayor. Don't go on the green too many times, otherwise you'll have a long lap penalty. Mayor deep on the brakes, not as deep as Dalla Porta though. Oh, friendly fire. turn one. I know the camera does deceive us, but sometimes it is close, and that was one of those times where it really, really was. So coming through turn two. Oh, Dalla Porta, I tell you what, we thought he wasn't going to hold back. He isn't holding back. He knows what he's got to do. At the end of the day, he's got to clear his teammate, and he might have to get a bit aggressive. I'm not saying he's going to necessarily take him out on purpose, but if it comes as a consequence of a bad move, then Dalla Porta will still be champion at this rate.
Just to definitively answer your question, are they catching the race leader DINO IOZZO? It is a firm no. There's your confirmation on screen. Fastest lap of the race to IOZZO as Dalla Porta just forces it up the inside of his title rival Mayor, who I think was well versed and well recommended just to jump out of his way there as he goes way off the road on the outside of turn number 6. He does come back through on Dalla Porta. He is prepared to engage with his title rival. It's not a bad lead, he needs to be picking.
He really doesn't, and I have a horrible feeling that this has got gravel trap written all over it. Oh, I tell you what, Dalla Porta was loose going in there. Careful, guys.
Dalla Porta needs more than this, though. It's all well and good getting through on Mayor. Mayor, I guess, is thinking, well, hey, if I just carve Dalla Porta up, he's not going to win the race from there. Mayor is now back in 4th place. Dalla Porta would win the championship if Mayor finished there, if he can get up to the lead and win the race. But, of course, with the pace that IOZZO is setting and these two battling with each other, the victory is getting further and further away.
I just can't see anyone going with IOZZO right now. 2.4 seconds it is across the line ahead of McDonald. The only thing Mayor can hope for is that on the brakes, sideways on, he gets it done again. He's going to go wide though, is he? No, how does he get that stop? So brilliant stuff from Mayor. Oh, turn 2, that's always close, and it was close. Oh, Mayor out the seat. These two are teammates. I use the term mates very loosely, of course. Oh,
they're not mates now.
Dear me, that was scything up the inside. Dalla Porta, well, it's great. It's a great spectacle, but the team owner is going to be watching through his fingers because he cannot keep an eye on this. The GV Tamoil Racing Yamahas, it is absolutely gloves off. Bearings flapping from both of them now, and again, Mayor is going to have a look on the inside, but even he cannot outbrake Dalla Porta. It's interesting.
Dalla Porta wide though.
I was just about to say, I wonder if Dalla Porta is really ruffling feathers in the hope that his inexperienced teammate Mayor might make an error, because that would just allow Dalla Porta a European title to his World Championship. Mayor wide there. Now keep an eye up here at the chicane.
Well, to be honest, at this stage of the race, I think that's Dalla Porta's only hope of winning this championship is that Mayor makes a mistake and just drops out altogether, because the race victory which Dalla Porta realistically needs, if Mayor is still running, is now way off in the distance in the form of DINO IOZZO, who's continuing to extend that lead. It was 2.5 seconds when the lap began, and that was over Archie McDonald. And of course, Mayor and Dalla Porta are just losing further ground themselves, even to the Aussie, as they battle each other in 3rd place. 4 laps remain then as IOZZO crosses the line. He does a 1:41.3. McDonald in 2nd place does a 41.6. 41.62 for Dalla Porta and Mayor, who goes side by side once again. They bat off a 3rd, but there's a lot more at stake than that.
Oh, Dalla Porta. I thought Dalla Porta was brave on the brakes that time around, but it was Mayor. And Mayor does a very smart move there and just goes to the middle of the track, and that blocks off any dodgy attempt into turn 2. But again, Mayor out on the green. He's going to have to be very careful there. Dalla Porta trying to come through on the inside of turn 3. It's a long right-hander. Now we're into the left-hander at turn 4. You get the feeling that it's going to be not when push comes to shove, it's going to be a shove from the start in the last closing laps of this race.
Dalla Porta must be wishing, can anyone else get involved in this and actually help me out and get some bikes between myself and Mayor, as he's now coming back up the inside once again. We're losing count now, the number of overtakes, although Dalla Porta for the 2nd lap in a row goes wide through 6. That allows Mayor through once again on the 82, back into 3rd place. The rematch comes then for Dalla Porta. This time, though, it looks like he has made it stick.
Yeah, for now, I don't know. Turn 8, well, not this time. I've got to say, Mayor, he's got this vibe. He just wants to win at all costs, and he's gone wide. He's blown the chicane. Dalla Porta's wiser. He's going to cut under him. Oh, tell you what, through 11, that is just so tight through there.
This is fine, though, for Mayor. As long as they don't run into each other, this is absolutely fine, because Dalla Porta might well be able to win this battle for 3rd place, but he's not going to get any further up the road than this because of how much they're battling. IOZZO's long gone, and now Archie McDonald's joining him off over the horizon.
3 laps to go when they cross the line. Who's it going to be this time? It's across the line, it's Dalla Porta. Look, he got his bearings bent on the left-hand side of that bike, right-hand side to us. Mayor's going to come back at him. I've got the horrible feeling, and I said this a few laps ago, that this is going to go over a tip of an iceberg in a moment. It's too messy from both of them, and it's really not. I mean, Mayor doesn't need to be doing it. He could take fourth. I think it's more a matter of who's top dog in that team, because Mayor has not won the same amount of races as Dalla Porta. And maybe by winning the title by staying ahead of Dalla Porta, it's like, well, if it was level anyway, you wouldn't have beaten me on the day. That's the vibe I'm getting at this, but Mayor doesn't need to do it. Dalla Porta does, and that's why Dalla Porta is pretty happy to do it, I must say. An absolute... Oh, there was contact! There was contact. That time around, there was a puff of smoke. How on earth normally front wheel, when it makes contact with rear wheel, does not last too much longer, pointing in the right direction. Mario Mayor is an extremely lucky man to be getting away with that. It was Dalla Porta who took all of his braking space, so Dalla Porta was the one who started that one. Oh dear, hold on to your hats at the chicane, and here it goes.
Again,
oh.
This time Mayor up the inside once again, but he's gone in hot. Dalla Porta goes back through. I'm not sure whether that was smoke from the tyres or steam coming out of Mario Mayor's ears on the way into turn number 6, but either way, Mayor is now back in 4th place. 2 laps to go as they cross the line. Mario Mayor, not for me to give him instructions, but just cut your losses. 4th does you absolutely fine.
Yeah, don't go in an ego war against the world champion when it's your first title. I would give him that advice, but poetically put as ever, Lewis. I love it. Coming down, we haven't even gone behind 4th place. This is Andy Bedoya on the Honda. Here we go again on the break in 82.
Yeah, he's still going for it.
Like I say, I just got this vibe. None of them are going to be happy to lose this. Dalla Porta for championship reasons, Mario Mayor perhaps for ego reasons. And fair play. This is how a championship should be won. We all wanted to see it growing up when we were watching racing. Hello. Another mistake again, that's at turn 3. Mayor's wide and can't quite hold the line to keep it up the inside at turn 4. If it has escaped your attention, a lap and a half to go in this one, if they make it. And believe me, it's an enormous if at this stage.
Yeah, the only thing that we're not certain about at the moment, or that we are certain about, sorry, is that DINO IOZZO is looking very good to win this race. 2.3 seconds on the road. This time, Dalla Porta is leading Mayor into turn 6, so he doesn't need to attack into there. In the end, he is defending. A lap and a half remaining. We remind you, it's a 10-point gap to the advantage of Mayor when this race began. So if Dalla Porta were to win this, he would need Mayor to be outside the top 3. If Dalla Porta finishes this race in 3rd place, he needs Mayor to drop all the way down to 10th place. 10th place is some 13 seconds back down the road.
I think there's more chance of one of them dropping it in the last lap in a sector, Lewis, I must admit. But, well, I tell you what, Mayor is still going for it. Mario Mayor, you've got to admire him. He has finished every race this year. He's only got 1 win. He wants a podium. He is obviously aware that it can finish like this as we come on to the last lap, but he does not want to have Lorenzo Dalla Porta.
P4 okay. Yeah, I'm not surprised they're putting that message out.
I love the homemade G as well in the gaffer tape there on the pit board. Brilliant stuff. I remember that from the Chinese Grand Prix, I think 2005, when Olivier Jacques was on the podium. Anyway, never mind about my statistician and weird memory. We're on the last lap now. It's calmed down. I tell you what, Dalla Porta is getting his head down here. I don't know, he's not going to catch McDonald.
It's almost irrelevant if he does too. He would not get enough points. Second would be 20 points, so he would gain 7 on Mayor. If he gets up ahead of Archie McDonald, he would still lose the championship by 3 points. So for Mario Mayor, it's just about watching Dalla Porta up ahead, but not more to the point, watching every apex, watching every braking zone. Make no mistakes, he's at turn 6. 7 corners remain for Mayor to take 4th place, but more importantly, the Superstock title.
Well, what a battle it has been. I've got to say, I think that was one of the best battles of the year from the stuff we've been watching, even from the sofa at home on our weekends off. That has been one of the best. And what better way to do it than over a title? Dalla Porta at the moment is going to win the battle. He's not going to win the war, though. That's going to go to Mario Mayor, who, if he carried on much longer, was almost Mario Eeyore, but more on that later. Second is going to be Archie McDonald, and I do feel, and I'm going to do it now, we haven't spoken at all about DINO IOZZO. He's confirmed he's leaving the paddock at the end of this season. This is his last race with us in the JuniorGP World Championship. He's never won a race in this JuniorGP World Championship, but he has now. DINO IOZZO for the IUM Motorsports Yamaha team takes victory, but the title is sorted out in a good old-fashioned battle, and it is Mario Mayor who has taken charge and is your 2024 Stock European Championship, and he did it with his heart on his sleeve in a miraculous race that's had to deal with a red flag, a lengthy pause, then a battle to end all battles. Mario Mayor has done a sterling job, and it is quite rightly the 2024 Stock European Champion with a safe and sound, in the end, 4th place.
The mayor of European Superstock is Mario Mayor. Congratulations to him. Champion at the end of a brilliant race to cap off an entertaining season. Lorenzo Dalla Porta certainly can say he threw everything at it, but Mario Mayor did everything he had to do. He just had to keep Dalla Porta in sight. He did that, and he's rewarded with the championship. Ultimately, on the day, no one could keep DINO IOZZO in sight, who departs the JuniorGP paddock in some style.
How long were you queuing up for Mayor of the European Championship? Lewis is going to go down to do the honours of speaking to what will be an emotional DINO IOZZO, who takes his first ever win, as well as a very, very deserving champion in the number 82 of Mario Mayor. Heart in mouth for a huge portion of that race, I must admit. What a fantastic battle that was. Lorenzo Dalla Porta, the 2019 Moto3 World Champion. It just shows you can be a world champion. Doesn't mean it's easy coming down to Junior GP to try and rebuild your career. Of course, it could have been such a different story had he not had that clash back at Portimao. In fact, he'd have come into this round 10 points ahead. So a big, big loss in terms of points for Lorenzo Dalla Porta, but it is what it is, and he'll live to fight another day and hopefully come back next year, because that was a very thrilling battle between the GV Tamoil Racing outfit. The number 82, though, making its way down towards turn 6. That is where the celebrations are taking place this time around, and yeah, I think that's an enormous smoke cloud at turn 6. If we can just pick out, maybe this is going to be the celebration. He's going to go in blue for the Yamaha and come out gold. Well, nearly, with the sunset and the lighting. He's in along that penalty area. That's exactly where the celebrations are. They are world champions. Of course, the team would have had to have prepared all the T-shirts as well for Dalla Porta. They can be gym wear or something for the off-season for the 2019 Moto3 world champion. But as Louis Sotheby said, quite rightly, the mayor of the European Stock Championship. I quite like that one, even for me. The bib is being donned, I'm sure. They'll be told to hurry up, though, because we're a long way behind schedule and we've still got a little bit of work to crack on with after this one. It's all done and dusted. The gold helmet, though, everyone does a gold helmet these days. It's almost obligatory. It is actually in the rules. I think that is Lorenzo Dalla Porta, is it? I don't want to confirm that. I can't quite tell from where we are here. It looks that way, though. I think it is. Yes, it is. Lorenzo Dalla Porta. Now we get the face shot with the helmet. Dalla Porta, well, it was a good battle. And I'm sure they're pretty decent friends off track as well. The number 1 slapped on the front of that beautiful Yamaha R6. And now the T-shirts will be ready to be put on. Mario Mayor, for the first time in his career, taking a major title. And it will be interesting to see what future lies ahead for that man indeed. Mario Mayor, I'm talking about the number 82, has just become number 1 here in the Stock European Championship. The Yamaha GV Macro Bonsai Racing outfit. He's from Fonteas, and he only just turned 18 at the start of this season. A fantastic, fantastic ride right the way through. Super consistent, finished every single race. He had 3 podiums before the race weekend got underway, a pole and a win. And he might not have got on the box this time around, but 4th. Good enough for your new stock champion. And as you can see, he spent most of the season going sideways on. As you can see, down in Parc Fermé, top right, a shot. There's Lewis Sudbury. There's a face to the name. Who's alongside me this weekend up in commentary. DINO IOZZO, look at the smile. That smile's so big, it's going to need planning permission when he gets down towards to do the interview. Huge smiles down there. Smiles all around. There's Archie McDonald, race winner from Portium, back on the box, taking P2 today.
Tell the truth. SC1 or SC0?
Let's listen in.
Oh, fuck, well, same.
Oh, let's not listen in. I think we just caught a bit of bad language there. Apologies for that. As well, you can understand that everyone caught up in the emotion. Mario Mayor, there'll be plenty of emotion for him, the number 82. Only one win. Joan Mir style. Consistency is what wins championships, and that is right across the board in every World Championship you're ever going to see, whether it be in cars, bikes, World Championship, National Championship. You've got to be consistent. You can't just be winning races and then crashing out. So Mario Mayor has already got that talent and that skill set at 18 years of age, and let's see what the future holds for him. What a day, what a final race day of the season. The final race day actually in the world of motorcycle racing in terms of championships. Of course, we have got the FIM Olympic Games coming up next weekend, and actually you can join in the company of my esteemed World Superbike colleagues, Anthony Nelson and Jack Amy, taking you through that. That's down at Jerez, so plenty of female representation as well. Taylor Rolfe going there from the World WCR Series, as well as a load of riders from Supersport 300, to name all but a few, plus some regional specialists as well. But it's a very important year in terms of the FIM Olympic Games being held in Jerez this weekend. In terms of the actual championships, it's all done and dusted. This is it. This is the last race. This is your curtain closer. This is the sunset in motorcycle racing. And of course, the first World Championship back next year is World Superbike. 21st to the 23rd of February. That's on the splendid Phillip Island circuit. We've got plenty to look forward to in JuniorGP next year as well, because we will be going to Magny-Cours for the first time. And of course, the season all starts here at Estoril again. As you can see, all the content being grabbed there by Amadeo, who has been a stalwart across MotoGP, JuniorGP over the years. He's grabbing everything to do, I'm sure, plenty of behind-the-scenes videos and feature interviews you can expect to watch on our website, fimjuniorgp.com. And a good shout out to Ricardo Torrance, who is our social media producer. And don't forget, whilst the racing may stop on track, there's plenty still to come in terms of content away from the track. And you can relive all the highs, lows, action, drama, spills and thrills by following us across our JuniorGP community, whether it be on YouTube to watch all the races back in full or rewatch some of the lives, or whether it be on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I'm sure there's plenty more. I'm not the social media producer, so I'm not absolutely 100% aware of exactly what platforms we're on, but we're on all of them for certain. He does a great job, and the community will continue to grow even in the off-season, so make sure you join us over there and get yourself prepped for what will be an action-packed 2025. And we said it last year when we signed off, I think it's going to be bigger, better and bolder. Future certainly bright if you are number 82, Mario Mayor. We're going to hear from him a little bit later, but the biggest smile of the day, DINO IOZZO's your race winner on his farewell ride.
DINO IOZZO, you told us yesterday that you were departing this paddock at the end of the year. What a way to go out.
I know, what a way to end the season. I mean, I'd love to be back here, but if this is how we're going out, I can't complain. We've been searching for this win for like 2 years, so to deliver for the team, to me, to the people that support me, I mean, what a race. What a race.
Mega ride, congratulations.
Thank you so much, really appreciate it. And thank you to CEV for everything, and yeah, hope to see you guys soon. Appreciate it.
Well done.
Thank you so much.
Hope to see you too. Hope to see you soon too, Dino. Of course, he had spent time in the World Supersport 300 paddock during Nat Championships early years. The pink on the bike, suggesting just how loud he is and how flamboyant he is, and his riding style matches that absolutely wonderfully. Of course, we are going to be hearing from your champion, your final champion crowned in the world of motorcycle racing this weekend, and that is Mario Mayor. As you can see, he's just going to be collared very, very soon. He's just making his way over to our interview position. And I've just been told we're ready to rock and roll. Mario Mayor, he certainly did a lot of rocking and rolling in that. Fourth, good enough for the title.
Mario Mayor, super stock champion after an incredible battle today and over the whole season with Lorenzo. Tell us how you're feeling.
I feel very comfortable doing the race, and an amazing race with a lot of passes, and very happy for this race, for this weekend. Thanks to all the people that support me, to my team. Congrats to Lorenzo, to my rival, but always my mate. And thanks to all the people that support me.
And some words in your own language.
¿Eh?
Some words in your own language.
Nada, muy contento con el año, con la carrera, sobre todo porque ha sido una carrera muy, muy peleada hasta el final. Muy bonita con mi compañero Lorenzo, y nada, dar las gracias a toda la gente que me apoya desde mi pueblo, desde Fontellas, a mi padre, que aunque tenga el cogote muy duro, sin él no sería esto posible, a Ricardo Saseta, a mi hermano, a mi novia, a todos, y sobre todo a este increíble equipo.
Many congratulations, go enjoy it.
Thank you.
Mario Mayor, your mayor of the 2024 European Stock Championship. Thank you, Lewis Sotheby, for the interview and for that pun. We did have an original race start. It was meant to be 17 laps. In the end, a red flag for an instant further back. All riders conscious and treated, and for sure, hopefully back and fit for 2025. Archie McDonald hit the front for the MRE Talent Yamaha, but was soon picked off by DINO IOZZO before getting his elbows out with Mayor. And what we're about to see, well, after this huge get-off for Declan van Rosmalen, is a big battle. This was Mayor versus Dalla Porta, and that was one of the more polite moves. Demis Mihaila, it was an outside chance, and in the end, his race ended on the outskirts of turn 12, with the barrier taking an absolute fistful of anger. So much so his airbag just went off. If you just saw that pop. Back at the front, or in the battle for third at least, it was Lorenzo Dalla Porta who got ahead of Mayor. Mayor fighting back and into the chicane, lap after lap, sideways on, block pass after block pass, hard pass after hard pass. We even had a bit of contact. There it was. That was into turn 6, and that could have been the moment, I think, where Mayor maybe could have settled for that 4th place, but in the end, no, he decided to go back through. That was for 3rd place at the chicane. He was briefly back ahead, and there were no prisoners taken for Dalla Porta, this time getting back at turn 3. And although he would take P3 as DINO IOZZO won his first and what would be his only stock race win, the title went to Mario Mayor, the number 82, his good mate and teammates, close friends off track as much as arch rivals and nemesis on it. Mario Mayor congratulated by and with Lorenzo Dalla Porta. Everyone making their way to the podium right now. And it is Lorenzo Dalla Porta who represents the GV Tamoil Racing outfit on the race rostrum in 3rd. Archie McDonald for Australia taking 2nd place. And DINO IOZZO for South Africa, making it a non-European one too, with the IUM Motorsports Yamaha in his final race of the day.
Certainly a Hollywood departure for DINO IOZZO if this is the last time we see him in this paddock. Winning your final race from pole position, and just for good measure, he set the fastest lap of the race on his very final.
Going out all guns blazing. Hello, by the way. Nice to see you've made it back up our steps. I thought someone would burst in through my headset then. That's the dulcet tones of a Sotheby. And it is the dulcet tones, but he is alongside me in the box. Oh, we've got the national anthem. It's a South African one. very, very resplendent national anthem, even if it did creep up on me to much of my surprise up here in comms. DINO IOZZO cannot wait. He may have finished the race first. He was the first to get the Prosecco Open as well. Archie McDonald absolutely drenches DINO IOZZO. Lorenzo Dalla Porta as well joins in. A very happy end to what, Lewis, has been a remarkable stock season in 2024. Much more open, much more dramatic, and much more varied than its first season as its own individual class last year.
You can't say much more than the championship at the end was decided on the very last lap of the very last race. If that happens, you've got a pretty good, successful championship. And we saw the two title contenders, Mayor and Dalla Porta, swapping positions throughout that final race of the year. They certainly gave us a finale to remember, of course. We certainly hope that the riders who were involved in that crash, which brought up the red flags, are A-OK. But it set the stage for a thrilling 11 laps. Won in the end by DINO IOZZO, and although you can't see your champion here on the podium, the winner overall this year, Mario Mayor.
Absolutely, he's going to be coming on to the podium very, very soon. That's Miriam Lopez there. Give her a nice little shout out on the right-hand side, escorting your race podium away from the podium. We're going to make way for your champion's podium, which is Mario Mayor. A little flick through his Instagram just in a break there, and there's nothing signed or announced for next year just yet, so perhaps that's to come. In fact, we're going to go to the final results, so we'll wait for the championship podium. You can catch that on our social channels, I'm sure. DINO IOZZO, your race winner by 1.6 seconds. What a fairy tale farewell it was for the South African, who gets to hear his national anthem for the first time in his last race. Mario Mayor, 4th place overall. He had to fight hard against Lorenzo Dalla Porta, but fight hard he did and take the title he has. So fantastic stuff from him. Iker Garcia, he completes the top 10. And you've got point scorers all the way down to Marco Garcia in 15th place, just behind Czech star Filip Rejček. All the way down, 24 finishers. Alessio Guarnieri not able to see the checkered flag. He missed out with just 5 laps remaining. We're going to get the championship standings right now. No, we're not. So there we go. Fantastic stuff. I think this tells the story, though. Mario Mayor, it's the most important place on a standings graphic anyway. It's to find out who's in number 1. And I think we've got our answer. Lewis, some closing thoughts, not just about stock, not just about Estoril, about the entirety of JuniorGP in 2024.
Another cracking season, 3 of the titles decided on the very last day. Of course, Carlos Cano dominating the European Talent Cup. As always with JuniorGP, we get fantastic racing, great action, but also a glimpse into the future. And the future is very bright indeed.
It is. You're back to MotoGP duty next year.
Hope so.
I love your very quick-witted and dry sense of humour. Please never change. Hopefully to see Lewis on the road. You can travel to all the MotoGP events. World Superbike, of course, kicks off in Australia, as I said earlier. And hopefully we'll all be there for that as well. We assume we haven't had our final meetings of the year. This could be the ultimate sign-off. Who knows? Mario Mayor is your champion, as you quite clearly saw with the previous shot. 7 points ahead of his own teammate. It's a GV Tamoil Racing 1-2. Yamaha's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. DINO IOZZO just breaking into the top 4 in the end ahead of Adrian Rodriguez. Andy Vidoya 5th, the top non-Yamaha for Honda of all of the manufacturers. As you can see, right the way through, a very predominant Spanish championship. When you think about it, that's because this championship is largely based in Spain and Iberia. So lots and lots of Spanish talent trying to work its way through. A few others as well. We've got Swiss, Italians, Mexicans in Juan Pablo Urastegui, and also Tibor Varga from Hungary. I'm going to flick right the way through. This is the 3rd page of the standings. And this is your 4th one, Manuel Roca down there in 33rd place. A lot of point scorers, it's got to be said. Filip Rejček, 2 points there, first points of the season, actually coming today. So good stuff from the Czech rider, who I'm sure will be back. He's a stalwart within this paddock. And that is it. There is not a lot more left for me to say apart from thank you for joining us throughout 2024 season on behalf of everyone, from commentators to organisers to staff at every track, the FIM for being a fantastic governing body and supporting us right the way through, the TV production crew, the marshals at every round, and let's not forget the hospitality. Who would we be and where would we be without it? For myself, Kiko Giles, and Lewis Sotheby alongside me, have a very good off-season. We'll see you next year to do it bigger, better and bolder in 2025.